Hey everybody, welcome to our Monday, Tuesday video for week 2 of January curriculum 2021. I'm looking forward to teaching you guys a fun lesson today, but before we can get to that, you gotta get yourself warmed up. So make sure you do some exercises, jumping jacks, push-ups, sit-ups, front-ups, and then 30 seconds of jogging with high knees or mountain climbers or holding a plank. Something to get your body warmed up and moving. Ready, set, go. All right, so first thing we're going to start off with today are side elbows. All right, so just like with any of our elbow strikes, we learned a couple of horizontal elbow strikes last month and also rear elbow strikes. But just like with the horizontal elbows, even the rear elbows, the power in an elbow strike comes from your body. It doesn't come from swinging your arm around wildly. It comes from using your body as you move into those strikes, and it's just having your elbow in the position as your body moves the rest of it around and where it needs to go, right? There's not a whole lot of flopping going on with the arms. So the side elbow, it's a nice kind of cross between the horizontal elbow and the rear elbow in that we do a Dracula cape like we would for the rear elbow, but we do a burst like we did for that horizontal elbow. Only now, instead of bursting forward, we're bursting to the side. All right, now the thing is, just like with the forward burst, it's not a big giant leap across the floor, right? It's just enough to close the distance to land that strike on the face of the person you're defending yourself against. So a side elbow looks like this. I'm going to stretch my right. So first I look to the right, then I bring up my right elbow in a Dracula cape with my other hand up, and as I'm looking in the direction I'm going to strike, I'm going to burst to the side. And my elbow really only does this small movement coming from the Dracula cape and then sticking it out a little bit. But all of that power comes from my body moving from this position to this position. All right, so notice I didn't go super far. It's only about, like if I was just taking a regular step to the side, that's about how far I would go. A burst is just a little bit farther than that with some force behind it, right? So if you're bursting to the right, pick up your right foot. I'm sorry, if you're following me like a mirror, that would be going to your left, okay? So if you're following with me, you're going to pick up the foot, that's the direction you're going to be going, bend this knee a little bit, and push off, and land with the landing side bent. And this foot that you pushed off of drags along and stops right about here, so you're in a good strong position. What you want to avoid in that side burst is going like this and bringing your feet all the way together. That's how you get off balance and you don't land with all the force going into your elbow, okay? So practicing just the side burst with your hands up, pick up your foot, and land to the side in almost a squat position. And then come back the other way, and this way, and this way, right? Once you can get that, keeping your feet nice and steady, and you can burst side to side, that means you're ready with the footwork, and now you can add the elbow strike. So it's look, Dracula cape, and burst in. And when you land, sticking that elbow out there, okay? If you're going the other way, look, elbow comes up, burst in, right? There's only just that small movement, and the power comes with your body, boom, going through the very tip of the elbow. The idea is, in a self-defense situation, the person is standing to your side, and you're aiming for the face if they're low enough, maybe if they're like bent over talking to you, right? Trying to say, hey, you're coming with me, and you go, no, right? You burst in, get them in the face. If they're tall, standing up straight, you could aim for the belly, okay? That would work okay too, all right? So side elbow, I want you to practice 10 on each side. If that means 20 going 1, 2, that's fine, but don't just go like this, right? No, put that power and burst in good form, good Dracula cape. Look before each time you burst to the side. So that's going to be 20 total, 10 going each way. Ready, set, go. All right, right, next thing I want you guys to spend some time working on is our front kick that we've been working on. Now remember, this is not pivot. Pivot would mean kicking with our back leg. We are not doing a pivot front kick this month. We're doing a front kick. That means you're using your front leg. Quick review, the 4 parts are chamber, kick, retract, back to balance, okay? And today I really want you to focus on getting a good retract. The way we're going to be doing that in class is we are going to be having students kicking through a ring, right? By practicing control, they have to chamber, put their foot through the ring, pull it back, and then go back to balance, okay? So I know not everybody keeps plastic rings like this at home. One way you could practice that is if you have a helper who can hold their hand out, right? Now you don't want to kick somebody's hand as hard as you can. You have to practice control. So chamber, reach out and just touch their hand, and then make sure you pull your foot back before you set it back down in front, okay? So we're practicing all those 4 parts, practicing control, practicing our balance, okay? Getting all 4 parts in there. Make sure you're always keeping your hands up as you practice those 4 parts, okay? So if you don't have a partner with a hand who can hold their hand out for you, if you're kind of practicing on your own, find maybe even a wall, maybe a spot on the wall. Now you'll get in big trouble if you kick a hole through the wall. So you make sure you practice with control and pick up that front leg, barely touch the wall, pull your foot back, and set it back down. Last week as we were learning the kicks, I had the students imagine there's a bug on the wall that you need to just squish, pull your foot back so you don't swipe the bug down the wall, okay? But don't go too hard, because then you'll put a hole in the wall, because walls aren't super strong on the inside of a house, okay? So I want you to break it down, practice those 4 parts, and especially getting that retract before you set it back down in front. Don't start with your front leg, do your 4 parts, retract, and then set it back down behind you, okay? Now that's your pivot leg. So make sure you always come back to the same starting position you were in, with the front leg, chamber, kick, retract, set it back down in front. And I want you to do 10 of those slow kicks on each side. Ready, set, go. All right, guys, third thing we're going to do today is I want it to be kind of this up-tempo, high-energy, little bit of an ending drill for you to finish your lesson today before we talk about focus. All right, and so what I want you to do, this is going to be using our punch, reverse punch, okay? But you're going to be in your ready stance, whether it's right side back or left side back. I don't really care which side you have back. Just remember, punch is your forward hand, reverse punch is your back hand. So you're always going to lead with the forward hand, follow up with the rear hand. And what I want you to do is I want someone to start a timer for you for 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how much energy you got, okay? And you're going to be in your ready stance, but you're not just going to stand here. You're going to move around like this, right? You hop around on your toes. And then your helper, or if you don't have a helper, you can decide when you're going to go, is going to say strike, and you're going to stop, punch, reverse punch, and then keep moving. And keeping your hands up nice and high, and then go strike, no, and then you keep moving. If you want to switch your feet, that's fine, but then now you're going to lead with the other hand, and they say strike, no, and then you keep moving. And if they say something like sprawl, sprawl means do a burpee. That means put your hands on the ground, shoot your feet out behind you, come back up, and get back in that fight stance, and keep moving. All right? If you guys have some mitts, you could, and you have a helper, they could have the mitts while you're moving, bouncing around in front of them, and they have the mitts like this, and then they flash the mitts out like this, and you go, no, and you hit the mitts. Or if it's just one mitt, that's okay too. I kind of like having one target, okay? But, so you keep it turned away, and then you flash it for them, and they hit it, and then get back to moving, all right? So, just finish up with that fun ending drill, practicing some quick punches, keeping your body moving, get a little sweaty, have fun with it. Don't forget to sprawl a couple times to work your body out, and that'll be it. And then let's talk about focus. All right, so have some fun with that. Ready, set, go. All right, guys, we're going to talk about our focus sheet today. We're going to quickly talk about the definition and then number 1 on our sheet. Okay, definition is to direct your attention or effort to something specific. That basically means you're just paying attention to one thing at a time. All right, it's not what's going on there, what's going on here. Oh, somebody's talking to me, but I'm going to look at that over there because I hear something over there instead of listening to what I should be listening to, right? That's called being distracted and trying to pay attention to a bunch of different things. And, you know, there's some kids that really struggle with focusing on one thing at a time. I know one of my own sons has ADHD, and so it is hard for him to focus, but as I tell him, you do get to decide what you really want to pay attention to. All right, even when you hear something and you want to look at it, you can think, no, I'm gonna pay attention to this. All right, but it does take practice. All right, it takes practice, and you got to build a habit of intentionally deciding what you're going to pay attention to, even when there are distractions around, noises, other things going on, right? Someday you're going to be an adult. You're going to learn how to drive a car. There's a lot of distractions that you could pay attention to when you're driving a car. Just ask your parents, and you have to make that decision. No, I'm going to look at the road. I'm going to pay attention to the cars in front of me instead of what's going on in the park over there, right? So that's what focus is. It's deciding what you're going to pay attention to and paying attention to one thing at a time. All right. And then number 1 on the sheet is keeping my eyes on what is important, right? You've decided what you're going to pay attention to. Now you got to look at it. If you're not looking at the thing you want to pay attention to, it's going to be real easy to start paying attention to something else, right? So when you're here in class, you pay attention to the instructor, or if you're working with a partner, you pay attention to your partner. You don't start looking around the room. If you're in school, you pay attention to your teacher, or if you have an assignment on the desk in front of you, pay attention to that. Keep your eyes on that. If you start looking out the window, you start looking around the room, looking at your neighbor, then you get distracted and you're not getting your work done, or you're not listening to the teacher. Okay, and just like the driving example again with adults, right? We've got to keep our eyes on the road, on the cars. If we're trying to put our eyes on a phone while we're driving, which that's a real hard temptation to not give into, which is, you know, so I understand that. But it's, again, deciding what you're going to pay attention to and then keeping your eyes on what you are deciding to pay attention to. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed that high energy drill at the end there with some punches and sprawls and making those nice tight fists on those punches. If you want to do it again after this, go ahead. If you want to do it every day, it's a great way to get some exercise. All right, we'll see you next time, guys.